Okay, this is 2.4 part 3. So we're going to create a truth table for if P, that's true. If P and Q, then R or Q. Okay, so this is a continuation of what we were doing before. This time around though, I see 3 letters. I see P, Q, and R. So if I see 3 letters, I am going to have 8 rows. Remember that. The reason why I have 8 rows is because I have 2 possibilities for each one. It can be either true or false, and then I have 3 of them, so it's 2 to the third. So 2 times 2 times 2 equals 8. So that gives us all possibilities. So when I construct this, I have P column, the Q column, the R column. The next thing I'm going to do is write what I see in parentheses, P and Q. And then I'm going to do the other set of parentheses, which is R or Q. And then in this last column, I'm going to put everything together. So we have P and Q, then R or Q. Okay, and I'm just going to double check that. Looks good. Now I need 8 rows. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and finally 8. I just need to clean this up a bit. So I am going to extend these lines down a bit here so it looks a little bit nicer, and then use eraser to just clean this up. Okay. All right, so I'm going to make sure I have 8 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We need another one. So I'm going to extend this down. And this is why I check it. Just make sure I didn't make a mistake, which in this case I did. Okay, now I have 8 rows. Alrighty, let's go. So if we have 3 letters, remember the first one's going to be 4 trues and 4 falses. The second one is going to alternate 2 trues and 2 falses. And then finally we're going to alternate true, false the whole way down. Okay? Alright, now that I have that set up, I have to do P and Q. So my advice to you is write down all the P's. So P is 4 trues and 4 falses. Do the and symbol. And then what we're going to do is Q. Q is true, true, false, false. So we're going to alternate the true, trues and false, falses. And then we're going to analyze. So remember it's and. The only time and is true is when both are true. So that happens in line 1 and 2. So let's put those in there. Line 3 is going to be false. Line 4 is going to be false. Line 5 is false. Line 6 is false. Line 7 is false. And line 8 is false. Remember with and, the only time it's true is when both are true. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and circle all of these just so that I don't lose them. And now I'm going to look at R or Q. So I'm going to write down all R's. R was true, false, true, false. It alternates the whole way down. And then we put the or symbol. And now we're going to put Q, which is true, true, false, false, true, true, false, false. Okay, now I'm interested in that result. So let's figure this out. Remember, or is only false when you have false or false. Otherwise, it's true. So line number 1 is true. Line 2 is true. 3 is true. 4 is false because I have false or false. Line 5 is true. Line 6 is true. Line 7 is true. And line 8 is false. Okay, so I'm going to circle these because I'm going to need them to finish the problem. So now the last column says I have to do if then. So I'm going to copy down what I got for P and Q, which was true, true, false, 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 false. And then I'm going to do the if then. So that's the main symbol I'm looking at now. And now I'm looking at what I found for R or Q, which was true, 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 false, true, 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 false. Okay, remember this is the conditional. The only time the conditional is false is when you start with something true and you back it up with something false. So line number 1 is true. Line 2 is true. Line 3 is true. 4 is true. Line 5 is true. Line 6 is true. Line 7 is true. And finally, line 8 is true. So guys, this is a special case. If it's a conditional, when a conditional has all true results, this is called a tautology. I think it's T-A-U-T-O-L-O-G-Y, tautology. Okay, so it works for a conditional where the result of every single case is true. Okay, so it's really special. All right, create a truth table for Q, then R, and negation P. So we have P, Q, and R, so I know I have 3 rows again. So P, Q, R. Now I have in parentheses Q, then R. And now I have negation P. So the last row, and you know what, I'm going to leave a little bit more room there because we'll need it to write some stuff. Okay, so now the last row is going to be if Q then R and negation P. Okay. Again, I'm going to have 8 rows. So here's row number 1. Here's row number 2. Row number 3. Row number 4. Row number 5. Row number 6. Row number 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and row number 8. And then I just have to go back and clean this all up a little bit. So I'm just going to take the eraser and make it look a little bit nicer. Like I said, if you're using lined paper, then your job isn't too bad. But if you're using a note packet, unfortunately it doesn't have lines. So there's that. And I want you to use a note packet, so you're probably in the same boat I am right now. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so again, if we have 3 letters, the first column is going to be 4 trues and 4 falses. And then we're going to do true, true, false, false alternating. And finally, for the last one, it's going to alternate between true and false. Okay, now I'm going to rewrite what I just did for Q, which is true, true, false, false. True, true, false, false. Do the arrow. And then we're going to recopy down R. R is true, false, alternating. Okay, remember this is the conditional. Now the conditional is only false when I start with something true and I back it up with something false. So line number 1 is true. Line 2 is false. Line 3 is true. Line 4 is true. Line 5 is true. Line 6 is false. Line 7 is true, and line 8 is true. So I'm just going to throw some circles on these just so that I can use them later. Now I have to negate the P column. So I'm going to negate true, negation of true, negation of true, negation of true, negation of false, negation of false, negation of false, negation of false. So basically we're just writing down the opposite. And by the way, you can just write the opposite of it. You don't have to write negation of. But for clarity, I'm doing that. So I get False, 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 true, 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 true. Okay, so I'm going to use that bit. Now I'm going to put the pieces together with an and. Okay, so for Q, if Q then R, I got true, false, true, 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 false, true, true. And I'm just going to double check I got all those. And then and. Negation of P was false, 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 true, 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 true. Now the result. Remember, the only time and is true is when both are true. So in line number 1, the result is false. Line number 2, the result is false. Line number 3, the result is false. Line number 4, the result is false. Line number 5, the result is true. Line 6, it's false. Line 7, it's true. And line 8, it's true. Okay. So then it asks us, how many rows would a truth table contain if the compound statement had 4 simple statements? Remember, each one can be either true or false. So that's the base. And we have 4 letters. So 2 to the 4th. 2 to the 4th equals 16 because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8 times 2 is 16. So you would have 16 rows. By the way, I will not put that on the test. Okay? All right. So that's going to be the end of this video, and we'll pick up with 2.3 part 4 when we talk about the biconditional. Thank you for watching.